And welcome back to my little basic tutorial for programming, part 1. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is get hold of a copy of BeaberM, BBC Micro Basic Emulator, or alternatively you could use a Commodore 64, but I'd advise that you use this on a Windows PC. So you can see here some examples of the kind of things you can come out with just with a few hours practice, decent graphical games, and you can get started with these, so that's what we're going to do. So this is your basic prompt. It takes 5 minutes to install, no setup. Make the screen bigger and off you go. Now first I'll show you an example of how not to use BASIC. Don't just type any old random stuff in there, it's looking for commands, stuff that it recognises. So CLS means clear screen, that's the first command you'll need to know. Print is the second command you'll need to know. Now this types what you put in the quotes to the screen. And how it knows that you're typing a sentence is because you put them in the quotes. If you don't put the quotes and you put print A or print B, it's going to look in a box called A or called B and try and represent what's in that box on the screen. That's your variable. So there's no such variable as types to screen. So it's going to say no. And if you just type the thing in, it's a mistake. It doesn't recognize that. So you've got to type the command first, print, then the syntax, which is the quotes, then the thing you want it to print, types to screen, and then the quotes to end it. There you go. Believe it or not, if you can learn that, and you can learn that 200 times with different commands, you know 200 commands, by the end of that, it would probably take you a week or two, you'll be a flippin' expert. You'll be so good, you'll be able to create all kinds of things just in a simple basic program. So that's where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first program. Clear the screen, print the word hello, go to 20, and then do that forever. That's a loop. We'll be using a lot of those, so you press escape to end the loop, or you can write a break into the program so that it doesn't get stuck in the loop and it knows when to end. Input's another useful command. It's similar to print, but it asks a question at the end of the user. So after it types a sentence, it gives you a chance to type something in, and it will record that into a box, a variable box, with the label that you set. So if you type $, that lets it know a box called A is going to have a sentence in. That's what the dollar means. It means it's got a value in there that's not a number. It's like numbers and letters mixed up. Home team's $. And then we can do print. Home team is, and it will say the home team. So these are the simple building blocks. And this is going slowly. You're probably getting a little bit bored. But bear with me. You need to know these basics of BASIC before we get onto the advanced basics of BASIC. And then the advanced bits of BASIC. So there you go. Home team is Arsenal. I don't have to type home team is Arsenal. I just have to type what is H team $, and it'll tell me. So as you can see, if you build a small program and it asks you what's the home team, how many goals they scored, how many away goals, what corners, what cards, blah blah blah. If it goes through all the stats and you give it all the stats, it can then in a millisecond put all those stats through thousands of complicated calculations, which you might have to do by hand if you wanted to get them accurate. It can do these in a millisecond and present you the answers in a variety of ways, which you can tell it what to do. So it's a really, really useful device, and in fact that's the example program I'm going to go through. I'm going to teach you how to build a statistical prediction machine for sports teams. And I'm going to put the disclaimer in, you shouldn't gamble real money, regardless of how well or how badly your program does, just don't. It's only for fun. I suppose it's not obvious to start with, but the reason I say, and I've stopped the video to tell you this, is that you shouldn't gamble with real money is not because I don't think you'll ever make money, and it's not because I think you will make money. I don't know whether you'll make money or not. That's why I'm putting the disclaimer and I'm saying just do it for fun. Because there's plenty of guys out there that are bad gamblers that walk away with money because they're smart, and there's plenty of people that are great gamblers and walk away with nothing because they don't walk away, they just keep spending. So this video is not about gambling, that's just the example, okay? But for the record, gambling's not a good idea, especially if you have no money and you're desperate for money. Don't gamble your last bit. That's why it's called gambling, because you're likely to lose. Okay, but anyway, crack on. Let's go back to the programming. Now, going back to our little example of a loop, you can use a simple loop, which is just go to here, do this, go to here, do this, go to here, or you can use a for and a next loop. Now what that means, for is setting up the proposition, and next is telling it to do the next step until the end of the proposition. So in this one, t equals 1 to 250, so we got 250 steps of just nothing, just waiting. So 250 clicks of time before it prints the next line. What that's going to do is put a slight gap between each line that it types hello, just to give you a bit of a chance to read it. Now obviously you know it's hello, 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 so you don't need to read it. But let's say I had a really complex set of things to tell you, I might want to slow it down so you can read it, and it increases the usability for the user, the nice feeling, you know, the warm fuzzies this program's going to give you. So yeah, if you want to add time between things, that's a good way to do it, just putting a for and a next loop with nothing in it, just clicks of time. But the other reason why that's good is each click you can add or take away from a variable number. You can change something, so you can say each click you go through this, add 1 to a total of goals, or take 1 away from profit listing, or something like that. So it's automating calculations which you will end up doing yourself, which is really useful. Now I'm going to slightly cheat. I've cut quite a lot of typing space out the middle of this video so I can show you this. This is my little program where you type in the home name, type in the away team name, and then you tell it a little bit about which goals have been scored where and by whom, and it will try and predict the next game for you. Now this took me half an hour. It's pretty crap, but you can tell if I put more time into it, it would be good. There you go. So the goal coefficient is giving me 27.5, nearly a 30% chance of me scoring a goal against that team. But it's telling me it's because I've not selected a goal scorer. So that gives you a little look, a little example on how easy it is to learn BASIC. Now I'm going to stop this video here and split this into probably 3 or 4 episodes. I just realised that little program that I wrote, I've made a few errors in there in concept. So I'm going to have to go back and rewrite that. So I'll carry this on the next one. But like I say, go and download BBEM or get yourself a Commodore 64 clone or some way of using BASIC and just practice, practice, practice. Get good at the CLS, print, input statements, the text side of things. Moving text around with locate, or you've got a GCOL, graphic color, where you can set the color of the background and the text. These are easy things to learn. If you want to get good at programming, these are going to be the first things that build your confidence and make you more interested in learning. So go away, get that, and learn that. And yeah, we'll catch up and we'll continue in the next one. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you then. Bye.